Hey guys, here's 5 parkour skills you can do in your backyard while self-isolating during COVID-19!
I'm a gymnasta, I do gymnastics. Wouldn't you like to do gymnastics?
If you're feeling stiff and you're looking for a warm-up, you can check out our COVID conditionings linked right up there.
So just a heads up, this is the last video we'll put out for a while, and all these skills are some of the toughest ones that we've done yet. So if you're having a little bit of trouble finishing each one, that's totally fine. These are made to be a little bit more advanced so that they take you guys a little bit longer to figure out, and so they give you a bit more of a challenge now that you've figured out and learned our other skills along the way. All right, first skill that we're gonna try is a dive shoulder roll. We're gonna show you that first, and then we'll teach you how to do it. First up, what we need to do is review shoulder rolls from our level 1 of parkour skills you can do in your house. This is what a shoulder roll looks like. Make sure if you haven't already seen that video and you haven't tried this before that you go back and do that first. This skill is just a level up of a shoulder roll. So you notice Jared's using his palms to absorb the ground and almost do like a push-up into it instead of just right away dropping onto his shoulder. We really want it to be heavy on the hands. He's also not landing on the top of his shoulder, he's ending up landing on the back of it. This helps us absorb everything just a little bit better instead of dropping hard onto the collarbone at the top of our shoulder here. Alright, this next part will take some time, but it's very simple. All you're going to do now is take that shoulder roll and just make it longer and longer, still staying on the ground though. So go down into the same position and just keep on reaching your hands further and further away from your legs. You know you're ready to do the jump when you've started to get your hands pretty close to about a push-up length from your feet. After that, you start adding a tiny little jump into it. Now this is where it becomes very important to make sure you are heavily on your hands. Feel yourself absorbing just like you would with your legs when you take a landing, but with your hands, your upper arms, and your shoulders. And then as you get more comfortable, start jumping a little bit farther into it. It does also help if you swing your arms up into this, just like we're doing a grasshopper. If you're finding this is getting pretty easy, go ahead and try learning it on the other side, but make sure to work up to it in the exact same way.
Hello, I'm Jared. Welcome to my vlog. Today we're filming parkour skills you can do in your backyard. And it's going pretty alright, we're going pretty fast. I've got sticky things on my knees because it's spring right now. This is Brody, say hello Brody.
Hello Brody.
He got me again. As you can see.
Alright, the next skill we're going to try is called a wall run. Again, we'll show you what that looks like, and then we'll teach you how to do it. Make sure that the wall you've chosen, or the tree that you're working with, on the ground, that the area you're going to land in has no roots on the ground. This makes it a lot easier for you to land safely and not land and turn your ankle over on one. You can see right here, there's a big root sticking up here and another one on the other side of Jared. So we've got him using right in the middle. So after this, we'll teach you how to do a tack, which is a sideways wall run, but we're going to start with straight up. First thing you're going to do is stand against the wall with one foot up on it. Once you've done that, all you're going to do is you're going to lean forward into the foot on the wall and then push back and jump off. Then all you're going to do is start leaning a little bit further back. This is quite awkward. And then as you get comfortable, you'll add in a step from the ground instead. It does also help if you swing your arms up just a little bit as you do this. Now once you've gotten comfortable, you can start actually adding in a few more steps. The thing to be careful of here though, is that you make sure your foot is high enough that you're not going to jam your ankle. You want to make sure your body is leaning back so you stick to the wall and you protect your ankles. It's also not a good idea to have your foot too low or it'll slide down and you'll end up hitting the wall with your face instead. So make sure to put your foot a little bit higher than your knee and to lean backwards away from the wall. Both of those things will make you stick to the wall and help you run higher. Practice what Jared's doing here, where he lands facing the tree that he jumped off of, and practice after you've pushed off, turning around at least a little bit and landing the other one. if you're going to turn, make sure to turn away from the foot that's planted on the wall. So for instance, Jared puts left foot on the wall, so he's going to turn to the right. This can be really helpful when you're either trying to run up and climb a fence or trying to jump up and grab a branch in a tree. Either way, you do want to be reaching up above you as you run, but be careful not to run with your hands. Mostly all that does is push you away from the wall. So if you watch one more time, Jared will run up and reach. The next version of wall run we're going to try is called a tack, as in T-A-C, like a tic-tac. You're going to do this running sideways. I'll show you first, then we'll explain it. The goal here is to gain some height, but it's mostly to change direction and keep traveling forwards. This one is super simple. Just make sure, whatever wall that you're running off of, same deal, make sure to lean away from it. You want to be at about 45 degrees from the wall. That's why it's easier to run on a slanted wall. So a tree that you can find, which is actually a bit slanted like this one, makes it a lot easier. Make sure to try this on both feet. And most importantly, make sure your foot is pointing pretty much directly in the direction you're going. Maybe a little bit upwards, but only a little. Last thing for you to know when you're using tack for anything is make sure the angle that you run up isn't too shallow. What we mean by that is if your wall is straight on like this, make sure you've got a pretty heavy angle going into it. If you're running pretty much straight alongside it, it's going to be really hard to get your grip. So come in at about 45 degrees so you don't skid down the wall like Jared just did. The next skill we're going to try is one of my favorites. It's called the butterfly kick. I'll show you that first, and then we'll teach you how to do it. If you haven't already, make sure to do a full stretch out before trying this skill. It's going to use all kinds of weird little muscles that you don't normally use, so make sure you're really nice and limbered up before you give it a try. Alright, it's getting real windy out here, so sorry if the audio is a little bit awkward. I'll try and stay nice and close so you guys can still hear me. Alright, the first thing that you're going to need to do to figure this one out is going to look a little bit weird, but that's okay. You're going to stand on one foot, just like Jared. Make sure that that foot is the front foot when you cartwheel. So for me, I cartwheel right foot and right hand first. Therefore, I'm going to stand on my right foot. Then what you're going to do is you're going to bend your leg and your torso down to the ground and jump up into the air and lift them both up. Look, it looks like Jared's flying, he's pulling his heel up behind him, and he's opening up his arms to his sides as well. I want both of these things. You're going to practice this on both sides just to get used to it, but you're going to make sure that you've really gotten good at it on your cartwheel takeoff side. So now you're going to start in a lunge on your non-dominant foot. So if you cartwheel with your left foot forwards, you'll start with your right foot forwards, or vice versa. Then you're going to sweep your chest down low and end up facing the other way in a lunge. After that, start with your chest up in the air, then drop it down, swing through the lunge, and bring it back up. Up, down, up. Then finally, do what Jared's doing now, where the end of the lunge looks like you're about to do the same jump you just practiced on your dominant foot. Finally, put that all together, let your arms swing up just a little bit as you go around. Make sure your chest stays flat, that it doesn't go upside down, but it stays flat in a circle. And then jump. And then try landing on the other foot. Spread your legs out a little bit wide in the air, and you'll do a butterfly kick. If you're having trouble with this, it makes it even easier if you start with your arms in front of you. If they start up in front of you, they'll swing down towards the ground as you go around, and then they'll end up like wings as you take off. Now, to make this work quite well, find an object or something you can put on the ground and travel over it. You don't want a butterfly kick to go quite up and down. If you can, you want to go over something. Alright, one last thing that we won't dive too deep into, but you are able to add a step into this if you want a little bit extra momentum. You are going to start facing the direction you are going to keep on traveling. Okay? Then you're going to step with your non-dominant foot. Then you're going to step behind with your dominant foot. And at this point, drop into the lunge you already learned and do the butterfly kick. So a little bit higher speeds. We'll do it again and I'll talk you through it. So Jared starts facing forward. He goes non-dominant foot, butterfly kick. It's just the same way of getting yourself into that backwards lunge with just an initial step. So another way of thinking of it is you start facing the wrong way, and then you take one extra step to turn you around, and then you end up just starting in that backwards lunge. Just like that. outside, it's going to be especially loud over here underneath the tree, so I'll stay nice and close so you guys can still hear me. This one is super simple. We're just going to teach you guys how to climb over a fence. There's two ways to do it. One that looks like a safety vault, and the other that looks like something that we call a turn vault. Most important thing for these is make sure that you are tall enough or that you've given yourself something to boost you up so you can jump to front support like we've practiced in our gymnastic skills that we did outside. And once you jumped up to front support, you're just going to put one foot outside of your hands. Then you're going to lift up the hand that's on that side. So Jared's left foot is up, so he moves the left hand out of the way and then steps to the middle. This keeps your belly button facing forward, and it's kind of like sitting on the edge of something and just pushing off your butt. It's nice. Make sure to try that on both sides. It's really, really helpful. Now, if you need to take a bit of a heavier landing or you're climbing a higher fence, sometimes this version, the turn vault version, is a little bit nicer to do. So you're going to get into the same position with the one foot up the side, but then you're going to take that hand, move it across your body, and turn around so you face the fence when you're done with your hands on top. Really nice thing about this one is as you drop down, you can actually slow yourself down with your hands and add them to your landing with your legs. Make sure that you've tried this one on both sides. It's good to know how to do it on both. Alright, last skill. We're going to try what's called a floor kick. You've probably seen this in like every martial arts movie ever that had a fight in it. We're going to show you first and then we'll teach you how to do it. This one's just fairly physically tough to do, but the steps are pretty simple to learn. Okay, first thing you're gonna do is just practice rolling back and touching the palms of your hands to the ground. Elbows up like this. So just roll back. Okay. Practice rolling back forwards fairly aggressively by pushing off of your hands. Once you've done that, do the same thing, but start rolling back into almost a shoulder stand where you push your legs almost straight up to the sky, but still push off of your hands as you roll back up. Finally, exact same feeling through your hands, but this time you're pushing straight up with your legs. You're then going to curl them around and almost try and think of touching your head with the backs of your feet. You're just going to curl all the way around and then sit up at the last second. The important part here is you're going to push with everything all the way through your body. It's just like jumping off of your feet. You start, oddly, with your arms, and then it goes through your hips, your knees, all the way down until it hits your toes. It's the same thing here. You push your feet up first, then knees, then hips, then back. Your fingers and arms are the last thing to push through. So make sure to use your legs and your lower body first, and then follow through with your hands after. You are going to fall on your butt a lot. That is okay. If you feel like it, grab an old blanket or pillow or something like that to just put underneath you, because this is just going to take a bunch of tries of you falling over and hitting your tailbone. So find some grass or some squishy stuff.
Thanks for watching our last 5-skill tutorial that we'll be doing for a little while. If you're looking for a workout or a stretch out, just check the link right up there for your COVID conditionings. See you next video. Bye!